I like to look into the future and try innovative kinds of things. The educational establishment is pretty lumbering, and it takes time to change and make adjustments and things. So lead out, be the point man, do whatever you can to make adjustments and changes and things that will help kids. That's what we're all about, is making kids learning easier for them. And so that's where I went with this project, to try to help kids that were struggling. One of the things Learning Techniques does is not only do we work with them and their ability to learn, but it affects their self-esteem to a point where that just gives it another boost, simply because now they know they can. They always thought they couldn't, but now they know they can if they work a little harder and work this way and overcome these difficulties. Then they can be just as bright or brighter than the other kids. In the beginning of this program, parents were skeptical. We had to do a real good sales job on them and talk them into letting us try this program on their student. To the point where 4 years after we started the program, we had a waiting list of parents wanting their kids in the program. So the parents sold it to the other parents. I didn't have to do that because it worked, and it made a difference in these kids. But when you go through the program and they overcome the difficulties in the brain with the learning, then they're fixed. And that's the way I talk about it with parents. Wouldn't it be better to fix this child than to just make it easier for him? So that's what the approach we took. We wanted to fix some kids. Once the brain has overcome those difficulties by making the connections that need to be made, because they weren't made during the environmental time or during the socialization time, then they can be just as good a student as anybody else, and the behavior changes. Their behavior they're self-confident. They know that they can do what everybody else can do. Teachers welcome this project and this program once they understand it. It takes a little while for teachers to really understand it, but once they understand it, they know what it'll do to help their particular student or students, then it frees them to work more or longer or better with a whole class and not just be focused on a few kids that are struggling that they have to spend a whole lot of extra time with. So the whole class benefits. If you have a bright child and you know they're bright because of some of the other things they do and the way they can communicate with you, but they struggle with learning for whatever the reason, this is a good chance to try to find out why they are struggling with learning and make their lives a lot more pleasant for them and the parents by allowing this kind of a program to overcome the difficulties the child's having.